Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Zero to Empire podcast. I have Mike Laskowski on the podcast today, and he's actually going to be sharing his experience with Floss Time and building it. So, can you actually tell me what actually made you realize the dental industry was for you, and even though it started as an accident?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Samuel, for having me on. My name is Mike Laskowski. I'm the president and co-founder of Floss Time, where we bring on-site dental services directly to the workplace. So I kind of got into this by accident, like you said. I had worked in the dental industry in 2018, selling dental implants, and COVID ended up hitting, unfortunately, and I was laid off from that. And then what happened was, I had a separate opportunity. Someone had made an introduction to my now business partner, Dr. Majed Malecki, who had an idea for us to be able to start this together. And in 2020, we ended up really starting the idea. It took us a couple of years to build, and now 2025, here we are. We're just over a year in right now of full operations, and just makes it a lot easier for people to get access to dental care.
That's awesome, man. Everyone loves the
Yeah.
dentist, so it's good to have it on the go and have the dentistry be revamped because honestly, it does need a lot of areas to be like remodelized. And sorry to hear about COVID, but I'm glad you're doing this now and you're
Thank you.
doing very well with it. And so, how do you actually manage scaling a startup while maintaining the quality of service that comes because your business is so unique?
Yeah, well, I think, in the beginning, part of it is just like all entrepreneurs say, it's a grind in the beginning. You basically make it your entire life, and everything surrounds it around the business in the beginning. And so that's kind of what we really have done, and still even do to this day, trying to scale and make it a profitable and business worthy value proposition for a lot of the people that we work with. So we had really started this with the idea and the intention to really just try to help people and be able to bring accessible dental care to the workplace. So we've had a lot of success so far. We work with a lot of big types of corporations: Staples, Whoop, UMass Boston, big corporations out here. And so the scalability part is basically just trying to make it as good and quick and growth as much as you can without kind of impeding on your operations in the beginning, because sometimes people will say you don't want to grow too fast. And so for us, that was part of what we had really wanted to do in the beginning, was to lock down our systems, our operations, make sure that we had the structure to be able to support scale uh, scalability and growth, excuse me. So it's been something that's really, we've really kind of tailored our operations in the beginning to make sure that we're structurally set up for future growth and future implementation.
Yeah, I get that 100%. And when it actually comes to scaling, are you going about social media or like online advertising? How do you go about growing your business?
Yeah, that's a great question. So most of it is done digitally, but we do have a new office that we're actually opening. That's a home base office here in Boston. So we're hoping that that's going to give us a little bit extra exposure and such. But generally, networking, relationships, a lot of LinkedIn. Me personally, I do a lot of my business. I would say 80% of my business is done on LinkedIn, and just making connections, building your network, and that's extremely, extremely uh, you know important in the beginning, especially as an entrepreneur. You can't do everything yourself single-handedly. You have to delegate, you have to use systems, you have to use other places that can help you and be able to do that. And so that was one of the big focuses for us in the beginning, and even still, like I said, today, as we start to grow, you try to just stay on top of your operations and making sure that you have the structure to be able to do that.
I get that, yeah.
Yeah.
And when it actually comes to these strategies, like LinkedIn is definitely a really good platform to do
Mhm.
B2B,
Yep.
and it makes sense why you're doing so well with it. So, which ones have you tried and didn't actually work out that well when it came to your business?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, we kind of take more of a corporate-esque type of feel. We are a small business, but we really have a lot of high-end equipment, high-end value, and we make it feel like it's a luxurious type of service. And so part of it is Facebook really was not our marketplace to be able to do that. It's more just for information. Same with TikTok and all of these other ones. It's really, they're great for getting your name out there and having SEO and all that type of stuff, but generally they're not your bread and butter to be able to close deals. It's really LinkedIn, using either Zoom Info or Apollo, different types of lead generations and such like that. So that's something that's worked really, really well for us and has kind of set us up to scale and be able to kind of just test the market a lot, be able to send, emails, connections, DMs, LinkedIn messages and such. So it's been something that's really worked out well for us. And that's kind of the way that we've gone in that direction. But moving forward, I think we'll probably start to expand into a lot more different types of ads and events and everything like that. But generally the social media, just like a lot of businesses do, a lot of businesses have a social media presence, and that's really what we're trying to do with this as well.
Social media definitely is a game changer, especially in the
Yeah,
long term and building a
sure.
brand. So when it comes to actually your business and the long term vision for expanding to other states,
Yep.
what is your what are you trying to do with all that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we actually do have our mobile dental license pending right now in New York and Texas. And social media is really going to help propel us there, in addition to getting different types of media on board with what we're doing and our mission. So really expanding through social media is going to be our big thing, to at least have people show that, hey, we're coming, we're on our way there, and have brand awareness for that. So social media can do that quickly for us. But ultimately, we really want to try to be in front of a lot of people, go to a lot of different types of events and meetings where potential clients or HR personnel that we work with could ask questions in person and be able to touch base with us in person and just start to grow our accounts that way. So social media will help propel us there, but ultimately it's just a supporting factor for us.
That's fair. And when it comes to actually the logistics for the mobile dental setup, what are the challenges you face?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when, especially in the beginning, depending on the company that we're working with, so not every company is set up to be able to support and have extra space for a service like this to come in. So generally, in the beginning, depending on who it is, we target large corporate clients. So they mostly have the space to do it, but sometimes we do work with smaller clients, and sometimes it can be difficult to kind of find the space and be able to make it work. But being a mobile dentistry, you have to be malleable in your setup, and not every setup is going to be the same exact. Sometimes we're in gymnasiums, other times we're in tiny, small square foot conference rooms that are just big enough to host us. And so part of that is having a realization that it's not always going to be a perfect setup every time, and you do the best you can. But generally we try to have a really good presentation about it, have our walls be branded with Boston, and have it be just a really unique experience for someone that does have their dental care done and completed in the workplace. So generally space is sometimes always the biggest question that we get a little bit of pushback. And really we just need the size of just a small living room to be able to have our equipment set up and then render dental care right on site. So it's nice and easy.
Yeah, that's not a lot of space needed at all, which makes it pretty easy for you to just be able to go to place to place. So that's all good. And
Yeah.
how do you actually manage the affordability for clients while ensuring profitability for your business?
Yeah, that's another great question. So the biggest thing for us is our service is driven to be a kind of a community based kind of service where we're not just here to make money, we're here to also help people. And so part of this is the ability to do so on site and be able to just bring the best type of service that we can to the workplace for that. So it's something that we really feel as if we keep driving and keep going through with this, and that's, we think in the future that will really help us with that. So part of it is the service is not cost any money for the employer. So the employer will host us on site, and there's no invoice or charge to the employer, and then everything is basically billed directly to the dental insurance, just like you would a regular dental office. So it's kind of how we position it when we're talking with the employers that we're working with. Hey, like, think about it like you're opening your own dental office at your facility, but you're not taking the risk, you're not buying the equipment, you're basically just renting it from us for, like, a week or so. And we try to make it a predictable way to do dental care. And then, we come back every 6 months to make sure that these employees stay on track. And that's the biggest thing that I can't stress enough, is the predictability of this, and making sure, when a patient comes out of a chair, hey, we're going to be back here in 6 months or 3 months, and we'd love to keep you on track with your oral health care. Let's get you signed up just like a regular dental office would do. Once you're done your cleaning, hey, come back in 6 months, you get on the books, and it's the same exact way. It's just in a different location for us. So it's unique because we get to see all these cool types of workplaces, Staples and Whoop headquarters, and work with colleges and campuses. So it's really unique, and it's a fun job to be able to get to, every day for that. So
Yeah, the travel benefits would be crazy, like
mhm.
being able to see all these new places, all these new companies. Like
Yeah.
imagine doing it for Google or something huge, like the company like that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And that's really our target. I mean, we target big corporations, and we target, medium-sized corporations too, but ultimately the larger corporations are really who we want to be able to work with, because they have the people, they have the space, and they also are generally a little bit more on board with those types of on-site perks and programs for that. So, we like it, but we're here to service everyone that we can, and that's kind of our mission.
yeah, that's awesome to hear. And actually, what advice would you actually give to other startups looking to offer innovative solutions in such a traditional industry?
Yeah, I would say just be different. Take risks. Be different in your messaging. Don't be just cliche and how you present it. You want people to get interested, and so to be able to do that, you have to offer something that's interesting to them, something relatable to them. If someone is looking at an ad and it doesn't really relate to them, they're not gonna really look at it. But if you have your different types of marketing and different types of services that you can offer that can add big value to these types of people. So, for example, working professionals don't have the time to do it. And with Floss Time, it just makes it a lot easier to be able to get access to dental care without having to worry about, do I have to take half a day off? Do I have to, you know, burn through my PTO hours and pay for parking and my time and such. So I think part of it is just trying to be as innovative and think differently and think big. And I think that's a big thing for companies, is just trying to think, how big can we go? How big can we make this? And part of that is thinking too big at sometimes, but part of that big thinking is there's still going to be little pieces of low hanging fruit in that big picture item that you can pick off and kind of say, hey, like, this big picture item isn't feasible, but maybe there's some steps that we can start to get us to that bigger picture item. So I think in the beginning, just take risks, be different, and it's okay to be different. And I think that's what a lot of consumers and people that are looking for these types of services are looking for. How can you be different? How can it help me and add value to my own personal life? And if you can figure out how to do that, then people will use your service or your product, and you just have to figure out how to scale it and grow it. And that's the fun part. So
I'm glad you're able to redesign the dental industry, because I personally don't really like the dentist, but it makes it
yeah.
nice and convenient. Like your service, just going into get every 3 months, 6 months done, and makes it very easy.
Yeah.
And so, what's actually one tool or resource that you couldn't live without when you're doing your business?
Yeah, I would say definitely, as far as the scalability and growth part of it, the LinkedIn profiles that we have in our pages are so important. It's how we communicate, and it's direct, just like you said earlier, business to business, and that's where we do the majority of our business. So I would say that, just if you're someone who is working on a startup and you're trying to get your name out there, LinkedIn is by far, in my opinion, one of the greatest resources to be able to do this. You have all business like-minded people that are all in the same mission of trying to just make it in the world. And I think that people are a lot more open working with LinkedIn, than just your classic door-to-door sales and hard conversations like that. LinkedIn is a nice leeway to be able to kind of just, hey, I'd love to grab a cup of coffee with you, would love to set up a meeting, and it becomes a predictable way to be able to do your prospecting. And I think that's something that's super important. So if you're not on LinkedIn and you're a new business owner, or you're someone that's starting up, get on LinkedIn, use it. It's going to take you some time to kind of get used to it. If you don't know how to use it, most people do, but generally just use the sales navigator and use the tools that they have, because it's super helpful to be able to set you up and get in front of the right people that you need.
For sure. And I'm glad you found success with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great
Yeah.
platform to use for business to
Yeah.
business, especially.
Yeah.
And honestly, more people should use it to do that, because it's a great platform.
Yeah.
And so, when it actually comes to your story, share a pivotal moment about when you actually doubted your business idea and you actually were able to push through.
Yeah, yeah, that's another great question. I think part of it wasn't for me so much of the actual business idea of it. I think it was more of how to execute it in the beginning, because limited resources. You don't have a huge team that can do your marketing, that can do your follow-ups, that can do your operations, do your setup, do your breakdown. So in the beginning, you have to hustle and figure out how to do that. And so, part of it can be discouraging in the beginning when you're trying to do everything yourself and you want to get to everything, and everything is the most important part. But you just have to prioritize as best you can and work through it. And it's never, just like they say, it's not easy, and you just have to really push through it. And that truly is, it's something that I've definitely learned, especially being in the entrepreneurial space here. You really have to, when people say, hey, like, I dedicate all my time, and you can usually have like sleep, social, and work, and you can pick two of those. It's true of what they say for that. And now I understand and have, a lot of respect for those business owners that have previously gone and made successful businesses, but just staying on track and just pushing through when times get tough, and know that, there's light on the other side. And I think that's something that's super, super important, and just keep pushing through it. And eventually it gets better and you get over those humps. And once you get over the humps, it's really a rewarding, piece to be able to know that you could do that and push through it and have a successful product or service. So
100%. I agree with you. Definitely when times get tough, you just got to keep on going if you really believe in your idea. And I'm glad that you were able to get through that and actually figure out the logistics of everything related to the dental industry, because it is such a traditional space, and you're able to come in there, come up with a new idea, execute upon it, make it all happen. Now you're looking to expand to other states. So that's really cool. And so I do appreciate your time being on the podcast. Where can they actually reach out to you if they want to do some dental business with you?
Absolutely. Thank you. So you can reach us at flosstime.com is our website. You can also reach me directly. It's mike@flosstime.com is my direct email address. If you type in Floss Time on Google, you'll see us pop up. So we have pretty good SEO, which is always important.
That's awesome to hear. Well, thank you everyone for watching the Zero to Empire podcast. I'll see you everyone on the next episode.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Sam. Appreciate it.
No problem. You're welcome.